final decision. A marketing campaign with national broadcaster Tim Brando at the forefront had been touting the positive effects of the new arena and accompanying multi-million-dollar entertainment retail living space proposed by a Birmingham developer as a potential economic boom for the city. Former Calvary quarterback Shea Patterson was named the SEC Offensive Player of the Week after his school record 489-yard passing performance for Ole Miss in a win over UT Martin. The yardage total is the 13th most in a single game in SEC history. The Astros' Justin Verlander threw 8 innings of one-hit ball to help Houston snap a 4-game losing streak in a 1-0 win over the Los Angeles Angels. Verlander struck out 9, and Yuli Gurriel's second-inning RBI single drove in the game's only run. The Rangers were clobbered by Seattle 10-3 in Arlington last night to fall 3 games out of the wild card race. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.625, it's Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel.
I was excited. I was going to try out for the Pelicans.
So did Jerry Bowman leave before the vote started, or did he make himself scarce during the vote?
Here's what happened with Mr. Bowman. And I'll text him here in a minute, and maybe he can join us. But he did not arrive to the meeting until 5-ish.
Well, maybe
4:30-ish.
Maybe he knew there was going to be a lot of stuff going on before.
Yeah, and I mean it went on and on.
They didn't vote till like after 7 o'clock, did they?
After 7 o'clock,
and the meeting started at 3.
3. There were people after people after people. So he didn't arrive till about 5-ish, maybe a little earlier. I'm not sure. And he left before the vote. So he stayed for about 2 hours.
So
or so.
I assume this means I can only assume Mr. Bowman knew what the vote was going to be.
Oh, they all did. If they say they didn't, that's hoggy pucky.
Do they have their own? Do they have their own little room in the back where they all go and wait?
Of course they do.
Hang
They have
out?
a little vestibule or whatever.
I'm sorry?
A vestibule where they have coffee and snacky snacks. Man, they needed pizza last night. Deliver some damn pizza. We're hungry. But
Should
yeah.
let him borrow the money for that.
But he said he had to go to work.
Anybody got $8.99 for Domino's?
Yeah, he told KTBS that he had to go to work. I almost sent him a pizza. When it got to about 6:30 and I'm watching on TV, God, I want that night back. I almost ordered him pizza. I said, send about 6 pizzas up there to the City Hall.
Now, Roy Lang put up on his Facebook page last evening, in fact, yesterday afternoon, he said, we have our first event for our new arena, pay-per-view, Barbara Norton and Stephanie Lynch.
Boo, I would pay for that. I would so pay for that.
So what exactly happened?
Oh, man. Well, Barbara
State
Norton gets
Representative
up.
Barbara Norton.
Yep. Who represents kind of the same area that Stephanie Lynch
And
represents.
she was there, I would assume, in favor of the arena.
She had bells on. And she got up once to speak. And during the end of her speech that first time, she actually spoke twice, but during the end of her first speech, she looked at Stephanie Lynch and she said, and I represent, State House Representative District 3, and this is in your area. And Stephanie, I'm talking to you. If you stand for us, we stand for you. And if you stand against us, we stand against you. And man, they gavelled her because the room went like, whoa! like cat fight. Ooh, it's on. Everybody's waiting. What's Stephanie going to say? They just gavelled Barbara Norton out, and
That
moved on.
doesn't seem to me, unless she like was yelling it and waving her shoe at her or something.
You want to hear it?
You got it?
Yeah, I got it. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Representing District 3, we stand with whoever represents District 3. And we speaking of you, Stephanie. You stand with us, we stand with you. You stand against us, we stand against you. Thank you.
Okay, basically, I could understand none of that. Okay, if I can't
You
understand
stand against us, we stand against you. Meaning, if you vote against this, we're coming for you next time.
But couldn't Stephanie Lynch say the same thing? I mean, Stephanie Lynch is the city councilwoman who told us that the overwhelming, like 95%
Yes.
of the people who called her office, who spoke to her, were against the building of the arena with public dollars from borrowing money.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
maybe Ms. Norton is self-aggrandizing just a little bit. You know, what's the old Abraham Lincoln line? What is it? Is God on our side? Let's hope we're on God's.
Right.
Are we on Barbara Norton's side? Let's hope Barbara's on ours.
Yeah.
That, like I said, that's painting yourself a little bit bigger than you might actually be.
And what I don't understand, and I'm speaking kind of to the Barbara Nortons and others in the world, a little inside baseball, this vote was done before 3 o'clock yesterday. This was a done deal. These folks knew how they were going to vote, and if you really are well connected in the community, you knew that was how it was going to go. And why did we drag this thing out for 4 hours? Because that once one of the others rolled and was a no vote.
Once it hit 4.
Then they're all a no. They're all a no. So why did we go through this 4-hour dog and pony
Does it
show?
bother you that if there were a member of that council that truly believed that this was a great idea? I mean, look, it's I don't mean to overspeak, but to some degree, Ollie went down in flames. But you know what? She went down in flames.
Yes.
She was Davy at the Alamo. She's swinging old Betsy to the very end.
And she's going to come on our radio station today. This is the admirable thing. And she doesn't have to. She could sit in her office and say, no, I'm going to let the dust settle.
But my point is this. If there were anybody on that council who believed in this project as much as Ollie, and it says to me there wasn't, then why wasn't there a person on that council, if they believed in it as much as the mayor did, to stand up there and go, yeah.
This might hurt me politically, but I'm voting with you.
And go 5-1 or 6-1 if Bowman had stuck around. Evidently, there wasn't anybody on that council. Look, we know most, if not all of them, and they seem to be decent people. So I can only assume that there was nobody who believed in this project.
And what I suspect happened,
or at least the wishes of their constituents.
What I suspect happened, and I'm speaking out of turn, and the mayor may slap my hand, put me in timeout. I suspect once she found out it was a failure, it was not going to win, she told them all, just vote no. I understand.
Holly couldn't get them to vote yes. How could she get them to vote no?
Well, she could be sympathetic and say, I understand if you vote no.
I got news for you. She had no sympathy for those people yesterday. 631, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL local news is next.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out a little later on for some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Barksdale Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Sun returning with a nice high of 86 today, then clear, low 63 tonight. Sunshine, high 90 for tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Investigators say the victim was standing outside his home when an SUV drove up, and the driver exchanged some words with the victim before shooting him several times.
information. KEEL News now.
The Shreveport Council votes no to the proposed sports complex for Cross Bayou. Mayor Ollie Tyler says this was a missed chance to help our city.
I know I've not been an elected official, but 2 years and about 8 months. But I've been a CEO, and I know how to run a large organization. Opportunities like this one don't come along every day.
The council voted 6-0 to turn down the proposal. Only Councilman Jerry Bowman did not vote. He left the meeting early. The Shreveport community comes together to clean up the Leaps and Bounds playground at A.C. Steer Park after it was vandalized. City workers, alongside members of the Broadmoor Neighborhood Association, gathered to remove profanity spray painted at the park, and they cleaned up the mess left behind. SPAR Director Shelley Regal says this is not the only park to recently be vandalized, and that it makes her sad the city has to spend money cleaning up after others instead of buying new equipment. Bossier police searching for the gunman responsible for a shooting last night on Hill Street. Investigators say the victim was standing outside his home when an SUV drove up. Someone inside exchanged words with the victim before shooting him several times, the victim being treated for non-life-threatening wounds to the arm. 2 members of Congress say a Shreveport man's been detained in Guatemala since March after bullets were found in his luggage during an airport scan. Senator Bill Cassidy and Representative Mike Johnson say Zachary Wilson was arrested following a church mission trip. Complicating the case is his medical condition. He has colitis and requires expensive medications. Louisiana gets big money in a lawsuit. Matt Parker with that.
Louisiana is one of several states that will receive millions from the manufacturer Mylan. The drug company was busted for knowingly committing Medicaid fraud by overcharging taxpayers for their EpiPen products. As part of the $465 million settlement, the state of Louisiana will receive $6.9 million. State Attorney General Jeff Landry says that the state will use those funds to replenish the Medicaid program. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
A new study finds Louisiana's lawsuit climate is the worst in the nation and also shows the ranking is not good when it comes to attracting new business. Harold Kim is Executive VP of the U.S. Chamber Institute for Legal Reform. He says the areas Louisiana ranked poorly were the competence and impartiality of judges, the fairness of juries, and the quality of appellate review. Kim says the poll of more than 1,300 attorneys or leaders in companies also asked what they thought the worst jurisdictions were in the U.S.
And unfortunately, New Orleans Parish came out as the 4th worst in the country. And so that certainly contributed.
Senator Bernie Sanders ready to unveil his bill for starkly reshaping our current hodgepodge healthcare system into one where the government provides medical insurance for everyone. Republican senators are preparing to roll out details of a last-ditch effort to repeal and replace President Obama's health care law. The rival packages have little in common other than the likelihood that neither will probably go anywhere. Sunny today with the high temp close to 86, right now 64. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
It is 6:36. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. The Shreveport Security Systems text line is just a little couple of clicks away at 318-392-1884. So who's going to talk to us today?
Mayor Ollie Tyler joins us at 10 past 8. I'm hoping right now. I'm working on other council members that are, they had a late night, so they might be sleeping in.
Jerry Bowman was home by 8.
No, he was at work. He had to go to work.
Back to work.
Yeah. I'll text him and see, because he may want to explain why he was gone.
And he always prefers to come in and stop by.
Yeah, he can stop by. He knows he's welcome.
Jerry, Tommy said he'd bring donuts. He did. Tommy texted last night. He says, you guys want donuts? I said, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, maple. Maddie loves maple. Still at 11. I got a question for you, and don't answer till we come back from break. Because there are rumors afoot that the mayor, that we may at some level continue to pursue, or will we? Have you heard otherwise? Will Shreveport at any level continue to pursue an NBA G for Gatorade League team? Or are we just going to fold it up and say, Pensacola, you can have it?
I would be shocked if they say we're going to fold it up and let them have it.
Really?
I think,
despite the fact that to this point we have sold the NBA G League people in the Benson family on, well, we can't do this unless we have a new arena. Mm-hmm. I mean, haven't we sort of hung our hat on that? Hasn't the city to this point and the backers of the arena, haven't they basically said, hey, NBA, hey, Bensons, we don't have any place good. We got to build somewhere good. How can we turn around now and say, we got a bunch of great places? When before we were saying, you can't play at Hirsch.
I think you go to Corporate Realty and you incorporate this arena in their plan.
Corporate Realty, look at me. I promise you, as cool as it would be, Corporate Realty isn't getting into the sports arena business. They're just not. That's not what they do. That would be like you and me starting an airline. Mm-hmm. Which, come to think of it, no, wait. We'll go to break. We'll come back. But I got a couple more questions that only you can answer.
Yeah. City council members are welcome to stop by this morning, too. Open room.
Donuts about 7:20.
Come on in, yeah.
639, 1017 at Yes, Matt wants maple. 639, traffic update. Here's Ruben.
It is the best time of day to get from A to B because everything is all clear for your early morning drive to work or school. But look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-49 northbound near Kings Highway. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Sun returning with a nice high of 86 today, then clear, low 63 tonight. Sunshine, high 90 for tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
.642, Robert and Erin, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. The KEEL app is awesome sounding and a free download and presented by Office Furniture Source.
By the way, if you're watching us our Facebook live stream, let me just remind you, people ask me this all the time. Why can't I hear you sometimes? Why does it go silent?
Okay. Here's the deal. When we go to commercial break, you don't hear... when our mics go off when we go to commercial, there's no audio.
Right, so you can't hear all our foul language and all that behind-the-scenes stuff.
Video stays
on. If you're a lip reader, ooh, I'm sorry.
On the other hand, if you go, and because you can watch us on YouTube too, right? Okay. And the KEEL Facebook page.
Yeah.
If I'm sitting in the chair and not talking, there's probably nothing going on. But seriously, a lot of people ask. I went and looked at the video, and I couldn't hear anything. That's because when we go to commercial break,
right,
that
it
the
goes silent.
The commercials don't run on the video stream.
But people are watching us on Facebook Live this morning, and Johnny makes a good point. If we speak to Michael Corbin today, he said, "I sure hope you address Michael Corbin's outright," I'm quoting him, "outright BS lie in the morning. He said this is dedicated money. Then how have funds been transferred from the Riverfront Development Fund each and every year to the general fund if it is dedicated?"
Because, that's
Good question.
That's how stuff works.
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily mean it's crooked, and it doesn't mean that people are pilfering, and it doesn't necessarily mean anything untoward other than it's how things work. Don't be naive.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. And that money, you're talking about the $5 million for the Cross Bayou development that was allocated in 1996 to build a park where nothing's happened.
Now that's separate now. That's the bond money.
What's he talking about now?
This is the Riverfront gambling money. This is the gaming money.
Well, first of all, more than $1.5 million of that goes every year to help pay off the convention center, which is not running a profit.
Right. And we have to be careful because the bond money was voted on for Cross Bayou, for a park.
And
I think there's $3 million of that left.
And
that you can't take and use away from the riverfront.
I think it's $2 million left.
$2 million. You might be right.
I think they've gotten $3 million to do other stuff.
Right.
But it has to fall under the category of riverfront.
Right.
As I said before, the way that stuff works is if you've got, quote, riverfront money, if you're within eyesight of a glass of water, basically they can figure out a way to get that money.
You bet.
And that's not necessarily bad. It's, how stuff works.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested to watch yesterday's 4-hour freaking meeting.
You're going to go back and watch?
I've already watched. I watched the whole freaking thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you just said you were going to go back and
No, I'm not.
Watch
but
highlights.
I in watching it, it was interesting to see everybody that trotted out. And one who trotted out was Liz Swain. And she is in charge of the Downtown Development Authority. And, day before yesterday, what did I say about the DDA?
Well, see, originally, Ms. Swain had written an op-ed for the Times representing the Downtown Development Authority. And in the op-ed in the Times, didn't take a position.
Yep. And what did I say 2 days ago? The DDA needs to tweet or get off the branch.
So to speak.
Well, yesterday,
a lot of tweeting?
They voted. Their board voted yesterday morning before the vote of the city council. They voted to support it. They had some caveats, though. Pretty strong things that they wanted to be involved. They wanted, to be at the table. They wanted certain things done.
In other words, they wanted their slice of the pie.
Yeah,
we want our piece of power, or we're not going to get behind it. Is that what you took it to say?
Pretty much. And I had a convo last night, too, with Stephen Jackson, who's president of the Caddo Commission, who also wanted to be at the table and felt excluded. There are a lot of people who felt excluded from this discussion. And if we reset, like Michael Corbin says, you need more people at the table.
Last week, Greg Adams, who was in here for you, said something really interesting. And it sort of ties in with what you just said. Downtown Development Authority, we want in. Stephen Jackson, Caddo Commission, we want in. And yet the way this entire process has worked, what Greg said was, if you had invited everybody in, and suddenly instead of like 10 or 15 people in on the decision-making, or at least the planning, if suddenly you had 30 or 40 or 50, then people would be complaining that you had too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah. But you ultimately, as the mayor, as the city council, you are the deciders. You can hear everybody, take it all in, and then write your report, your recommendation, and say, we've heard from everybody. Here's what we think. But Michael Corbin said last night during the meeting, he said, we need to hit the reset button. We need to restart. We need to go back out into the community and see if this is something they want to pursue, that we want to pursue. Is it too late for the Pelicans? I don't know. I'm going to reach out to the Pelicans today and see, are we out?
Do you think corporate... You can ask the mayor. She'll be here just past 8.
Yes.
Do you think, despite all the happy talk and the we're going to press on and we're going to keep our face to the grindstone or whatever the cliche is, do you think at the end of the day that a lot of corporate realties wanting to be part of this had to do that maybe we had opened a door for them to the Benson family and the NBA and circuitously the NFL?
Of course. That all had a lot to do with it. And, it's not complete. If you're waking up today and you think this is completely dead, I think you're mistaken.
If I wake up this morning and I think the idea of a publicly financed arena is completely dead,
I think you're on target there.
648, 1017 FM, 710 Keel traffic update. How's about right now? Ruben looks ready. Here's traffic, and it's on Keel.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out a little later on for some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Barksdale Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Sun returning with a nice high of 86 today, then clear, low 63 tonight. Sunshine, high 90 for tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
1017 FM and 710 Keel. You'll hear all the news our city is talking about. If you think about changing the dial, we'll slap your hand. Breaking news and trending talk. 1017 FM and 710 Keel. KeelNews.com.
Block of Hill Street. Investigators say the victim was standing outside his home when an SUV drove up and exchanged some words with Investigators say the victim Investigators say the victim Investigators say the victim was standing outside his home when an SUV drove up and the driver exchanged some words with the victim. The victim is being treated for non-life-threatening wounds to the arm. Before shooting him several times.
It is 652, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Time for sports. Here's Timmy.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The much-discussed Cross Bayou project that included a new $30 million arena was voted down by the Shreveport City Council unanimously Tuesday. Shreveport and Pensacola were the two finalists to land the New Orleans Pelicans G League Development League team. The decision by the council has not, publicly at least, affected the Pelicans' final decision. A marketing campaign with national broadcaster Tim Brando at the forefront had been touting the positive effects of the new arena and accompanying multi-million-dollar entertainment retail living space proposed by a Birmingham developer as a potential economic boom for the city. Former Calvary quarterback Shea Patterson was named the SEC Offensive Player of the Week after his school record 489-yard passing performance for Ole Miss in a win over UT Martin. The yardage total is the 13th most in a single game in SEC history. The Astros' Justin Verlander threw 8 innings of one-hit ball to help Houston snap a 4-game losing streak in a 1-0 win over the Los Angeles Angels. Verlander struck out 9, and Yuli Gurriel's second-inning RBI single drove in the game's only run. The Rangers were clobbered by Seattle 10-3 in Arlington last night to fall 3 games out of the wild card race. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.1017 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. 6:55. More on the 6-0, not 7-0. 7-0. 6-0. No extra point. Vote yesterday by the city council, which temporarily, I guess, puts a cork in the arena on the riverfront idea. In the meantime, Parky, what do you tell me about this new iPhone that's only going to be like about $1,000?
Do I have to have it?
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. Okay.
I don't know all the details because I literally took a look at just, the overview, and I was like, who the hell's going to pay $1,000 for this? It's not much different from a 7.
Wait a second.
And I know there's dumb kids who are going to throw away $1,000 plus to get the base model of this thing.
Let me tell you something, and I mean this with all sincerity. If Apple had been in charge of selling the public financed arena idea, it would have passed 7-0. There are people
who will buy anything iPhone. Apple, I get it.
They wouldn't be getting ready to market a $1,000 phone if they didn't have at least a 90% certainty that it was going to sell 1 billion more of them.
I get that. It's just not worth it to me. I think it's crap.
I'd go get one if I didn't have to go through my phone right now and write all my numbers down so they transfer.
6:57. It's 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Who will be joining us just after 7 o'clock? We don't know.
We are going to have some surprises.
Erin is texting everybody, but for show, so to speak. Mayor Ollie Tyler joins us just past 8 o'clock this morning. Right now, here's Rush Limbaugh coming up on Keel.
Hey, look at this, folks. According to People magazine, Kmart's decided to relabel their plus-size clothes for women as fabulously sized instead. Kmart says the decision was due to market trends for diversity promotion and body positivity. Kmart's seen a big body positive focus among millennials. How big? Fabulously big. And People magazine applauds this all-inclusive sizing and getting away from that awful word plus. They say it's a welcome change in an industry known for othering women bigger than size 4. Now, this brings me to Hillary Clinton and her new book, What Happened? 500 plus pages of excuses, blame, and denial. On CBS Sunday, Hillary said the forces that were at work in 2016 were unlike anything I've ever seen or read about. It was a perfect storm. You see, these forces were bigger than anything in history. Plus-sized forces, described in a plus-sized book. Hillary's book blames James Comey, Bernie Sanders, Vladimir Putin, Russian hackers, Barack Obama, white nationalists, angry voters, a lack of DNC tech support, and on and on and on. Which may be one reason that Amazon and Walmart slashed the book's price by 40% before it was released. But don't worry, liberals will still call Hillary Clinton fabulous. Fabulous.
101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. And thanks to Jack Spring Electric, we have the new Shockbuster button. If Erin says something crazy,
I'd kiss a stranger for a ribeye.
real zapper. It's our 7-second delay, just in case. It's the Jack Spring Electric Shockbuster button on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Can be invested right back into your land.
The intersection of Greenwood Road and Hearn Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now, and we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Benton Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
6:59, here's your KEEL AccuWeather.com forecast. Great again today, sunny and middle 80s. Right now, 63 at KEEL, 7 o'clock, Fox News.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.
Good morning. It's 3 past 7 o'clock. 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Robert and Erin. Who is their local news? Erin's up next.
The big vote on the proposed sports complex, and it's a big N-O. We'll talk about that. Violence in Bossier City, that's coming up. And vandals strike at a local popular park.
So a 6-0 vote, but wait, there are 7 city council people. We will explain to you exactly what happened. As I said, what? No extra point. And City Councilman Willie Bradford joins us in just about 10 minutes. Fletcher in sports and traffic and weather, and it's all here this hour, right here on Keel.
KEEL Morning Report. Now on 1017 FM and 710 KEEL.
The Shreveport City Council votes no to the proposed sports complex for Cross Bayou. Mayor Ollie Tyler says this was a missed chance to help our city.
Since I've been in office, we don't have a lot of resources. We don't have revenues coming in. We are stagnant. And unless we can jumpstart this economy, we cannot address those issues.
The council voted 6-0 to turn down the proposal. Only Councilman Jerry Bowman did not vote. He left the meeting early. Now, Councilman Willie Bradford joining us in about 8 minutes, and Mayor Ollie Tyler joining us just past 8 o'clock this morning. Bossier police searching for the gunman responsible for a shooting last night on Hill Street. Investigators say the victim was standing outside his home when an SUV drove up. Someone inside exchanged words with the victim before shooting him several times. The victim being treated for non-life-threatening wounds to his arm. Louisiana, one of several states that will get millions from the manufacturer Mylan. The drug company was busted for knowingly committing Medicaid fraud by overcharging taxpayers for their EpiPens. Now, as part of the $465 million settlement, Louisiana will get $6.9 million. State Attorney General Jeff Landry says the state will use those dollars to replenish the Medicaid program. A vandalized park gets cleaned up. Matt Parker with that.
The Shreveport community has come together to clean up the Leaps and Bounds playground at AC Steer Park after it was vandalized last week. City workers, alongside members of the Broadmoor Neighborhood Association, came together to remove profanity spray painted at the park and clean up the mess left behind by vandals. SPAR Director Shelley Regal says that this is not the only park to recently be vandalized, and that it makes her sad the city has to spend money cleaning up after others instead of buying new equipment. From 1017 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
A 29-member panel meeting today in Baton Rouge to talk about ways to get more students interested in the areas of science, technology, engineering, and math, also known as STEM. Slidell Senator Sharon Hewitt is behind the effort to grow STEM programs in all schools.
The world is changing. Everything is becoming much more technology-driven, and so the predictions for the increasing demand for workforce is exploding.
For the 10th straight year, LSU has been ranked as one of the better schools in the country. According to U.S. News and World Report, LSU is ranked 63rd out of 190 universities. Now, while that might not sound impressive, the school is the highest ranked in Louisiana and the 5th highest ranked school in the SEC, coming ahead of Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, and others. Graduates from LSU also earn more money coming out of college, ranking 3rd among all SEC schools. Mostly sunny today with a high temp near 86 degrees. Right now, 66. I'm Erin McCarty on 1017 FM and 710 KEEL.
It is 9 past 7 o'clock. KEEL traffic update. Here's Ruben.
Keeping an eye on some slow-moving traffic on I-220 eastbound near North Market due to construction. And those school zone lights are on and the school buses are out. Please use caution when driving around the school zones. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will turn out mostly sunny and nice. We'll have a high of 86 degrees, clear skies, and a low of 63 for tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Good morning. It's 11 past 7 o'clock. It's 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. The KEEL app's a free download. Office furniture source. Thank you very much. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, and standing by is Shreveport City Councilman Willie Bradford. Hey, Mr. Willie, how are you this morning?
I'm well this morning. How are you guys?
You know, Erin asked an awesome question a couple of minutes after 6 o'clock, and it's maybe, like a peek behind the curtain, but it still is a pretty good question. She said, so yesterday, during the day, or even at what point yesterday, this is Erin's thought, at what point yesterday in the entire process, maybe even before the meeting, did everybody, all the city council people, the mayor, everybody know that it was going down to defeat? And depending on what time they knew, don't you feel sorry for those city councilmen sitting there for 4 hours waiting to vote?
God bless y'all, by the way.
When did you know? I mean, was there a head count done?
I did not know. I thought it was a 4-3 in favor. I really did. Yeah, I didn't. I had no idea that the vote was going to go down like it went down.
But you knew going in. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what you're saying is that you knew at 3 o'clock yesterday that it was a done deal. You knew it would be at least 4-3, or were you shaky on number 4?
No, I mean, my feedback was that it was going to move forward to the next phase.
You thought it'd be 4-3, yes?
Yes, I did.
Wow.
So at the end of all the voting, why do you think that everybody? I mean, I guess, and Oliver Jenkins right there at the end. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, 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 no. Yes, yes. You know what I mean? At the end, why was it a 6-0 vote?
I think reason prevailed. I think. And I'm not really happy that we wasn't able to take advantage of this opportunity. I'm not joyful. I'm sad that, and I think I said, and I've been saying this for so many years, that leadership matters. We cannot continue to have leadership, or we can't have a city and a culture that is not doing its best, not putting its best foot forward, not being transparent, not being effective in communicating to our citizens and presenting a vision that will embrace everybody.
Once again, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Is that a criticism of the Tyler administration and the way they put this together?
No, we inherited this, Robert. I'm telling you, I've been out here a long time. Okay, I'm going back 30 years, and I'm just telling you that you cannot consistently, chronically, not address all of your citizens. You can't. How in 2017 that black and minority companies are only receiving 1% of city procurement. How can you have a progressive city when you are not sharing the wealth and the resources of the city? How can you have communities that are second class and underserved? You can't be that way in a city of this size. We're a medium-sized city. You have a $17.5 billion economy, and yet the disparity in this city is so wide, and in spite of the disparity being so wide, we still have a deficit. We can't even take care of our basic needs.
So to your way of thinking, the biggest problem was that there weren't enough set-asides for minority businesses?
No. I'm saying that is a symptom of why we couldn't get this done. I'm saying, and they put it on the table, but I'm saying, but it's not their responsibility. It wasn't really a corporate realty's responsibility to try to solve our own problems.
Is this issue dead? Is the deal to get the Pelicans here dead?
Let me just say this. I don't know. I have not had one conversation with the mayor about this project. Okay, I met with them once to get the presentation. I have had no other communication with the mayor or the administration regarding this project.
Did you feel shut out also?
No, I did not know. I did not. I did not know the process.
Would you be comfortable with Corporate Realty's deal if they incorporated maybe a stadium for the Pelicans and no public money is involved?
I asked him that. But let me just say this.
What'd they say?
Let me just go back. They did not commit to that. They could do that, which makes me, and I'm gonna use this word, and I'm gonna use it for a better term, make me suspicious about this whole deal. I have no clue why the location. I mean, we're talking about on the backside of the convention center. I mean, what's attractive about the backside of the convention center? We got so much property that we could have utilized for this project, and yet we're gonna choose a location that we don't even have the rights to the property. We're talking about a contaminated spot that we're gonna have to remediate and put out extra resources to clean up. We just had that problem on a couple roads 2 years ago. I'm just saying it didn't. In other words, my grandmama used to say when she sees suspicious things, she said, "I seen to be a dead cat on the line." I did not embrace this deal completely because it wasn't transparent and it didn't make a lot of sense.
You know, not to suck up here, but Erin came in this morning and said, Willie Bradford was awesome yesterday. I said, how? And she said that you sort of gave a little speech about the other problems and the other expenses down the line, including the Independence Bowl that Shreveport is facing. Review what you said for our listeners that so impressed Erin at yesterday's meeting.
Well, thank you, Erin. No, my point was simply that, and somebody said, the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. If you're going to have a great future, a bright future, you got to prepare for it. You just can't wait and hope and pray that something will come and drop in your lap. We wasn't prepared to receive this project. We wasn't prepared, because if we was prepared, listen, we would have been. Right now, somebody would say, y'all need to have y'all head examined. Why would y'all refuse the generosity of corporate realty? Why would y'all want to invest? Would not want to invest $30 million to get $139 million? But I'm telling you again that when I say prepared, the culture of Shreveport would have maintained that same type of going forward, where we would not be a city of one. We got to lay aside some of these things and become a unified city to where we can move forward and look out for the welfare of everybody. Our whole community is not prepared. Leadership will make us prepared. And I said, Erin, he's sharing. I say, and what was this lukewarm commitment? We had at least 12 business people, Committee 100, as well as Freeport Chamber of Commerce and DDA, came down and gave these speeches about, we endorse this project. But not one of them said, and I can't wait to be a corporate sponsor and see my banner hanging in that arena.
That was it. And the other thing was, we're 90 days out from the Independence Bowl. Who's going to write those checks to those teams?
$750,000. I asked the clerk of council to contact Mrs. Sellers and asked her to be at the council meeting yesterday to tell us, give me a status report on the town sponsorship of the Independence Bowl. Now, we messed up 3 or 4 years ago when we had the dynasty and they wouldn't commit and they didn't pay no money. We had to go out and scrape up some money to pay those teams.
Mm.
And we 90 days out from the Independence Bowl, about to go out and thinking we solicit 2 teams to come to Shreveport, and I don't know how we're going to pay them. And nobody can explain that. That's what I'm talking about. How in the world is we going to be a progressive city, a city that is responsible, and we can't even take care of our basic needs? And in regards to that, we going to come into budget process in a few weeks, and every department is going to come to us and say, we need this. We're going to leave at least $5 or $8 million on the table for what they call unfunded needs. We can't fund needs that are basic for this city, and yet we're going to find money to invest in something that I don't see how it's going to be beneficial to the city. So I'm just confused.
Councilman Willie Bradford, thank you so much for your time this morning. We can't thank you enough.
Thank you, Candy. I appreciate it.
20 past 7 o'clock. It's 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Councilman Michael Corbin at 7:40. The mayor just past 8. And Councilman Oliver Jenkins at 8:40. In the meantime, traffic update. Here's Ruben.
Keeping an eye on some slow-moving traffic on I-220 eastbound near North Market due to construction. And those school zone lights are on and the school buses are out. Please use caution when driving around the school zones. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will turn out mostly sunny and nice. We'll have a high of 86 degrees, clear skies, and a low of 63 for tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Twenty-three past 7 o'clock. Keel Sports.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The much-discussed Cross Bayou project that included a new $30 million arena was voted down by the Shreveport City Council unanimously Tuesday. Shreveport and Pensacola were the 2 finalists to land the New Orleans Pelicans G League Development League team. The decision by the council has not, publicly at least, affected the Pelicans' final decision. A marketing campaign with national broadcaster Tim Brando at the forefront had been touting the positive effects of the new arena and accompanying multi-million-dollar entertainment retail living space proposed by a Birmingham developer as a potential economic boom for the city. Former Calvary quarterback Shea Patterson was named the SEC Offensive Player of the Week after his school record 489-yard passing performance for Ole Miss in a win over UT Martin. The yardage total is the 13th most in a single game in SEC history. The Astros' Justin Verlander threw 8 innings of one-hit ball to help Houston snap a 4-game losing streak in a 1-0 win over the Los Angeles Angels. Verlander struck out 9, and Yuli Gurriel's second-inning RBI single drove in the game's only run. The Rangers were clobbered by Seattle 10-3 in Arlington last night to fall 3 games out of the wild card race. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
So, when Councilman Willie Bradford says lack of leadership, 1017 FM, 710 Keel, Robert and Erin, 25 past 7. When Councilman Willie Bradford in the just wrapped up interview said lack of leadership, he was not, as I said, are you being critical of the Tyler administration? He said no. I'm rephrasing here a little bit, but did you hear him say this? We've had a lack of leadership for a long time.
A long time.
Okay, but he was at least including the Tyler administration.
Of course he was.
He was including the Glover administration.
Yes, he was.
He was including the Hightower administration.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Yep. I have a very radical idea. And if you're listening to me this morning and you're in city government, parish government, you're going to go, ooh, that woman's crazy. It's been done before in other areas. I think it's time to at least open the discussion of merging city and parish governments. It's been done in Baton Rouge. You have a mayor-president. She's called mayor-president. You have city and parish governments together. You don't have 2 CAOs. You don't have 2 finance directors. You don't have 2 of everything.
I have a question. So
you merge it together.
Pardon me. What's the mayor of Oil City? What's the mayor of Vivian? What's the mayor of all these?
Well, you still have all that.
Okay, but what you're saying,
still have those towns, but you would merge Caddo Parish government with Shreveport city government.
But what about all the other little towns?
The little towns stay their little towns. That's fine.
But what I'm saying,
but they don't all have the CAOs and the finance directors and all that stuff.
Do you think that the mayor of Vivian is at some point going to cede some of his power to this mayor?
It has nothing to do with the little towns.
But it will.
It has to do with the parish government.
Yes.
And the city government coming together as one. We would have no control over Vivian or Oil City. They run their own cities.
People who live out in the country in what you call out in the parish is the cliche you use.
That's your problem, because the parish is wealthy and the city is broke. So you would now be taking the money that the Caddo Parish generates, and you would be refocusing it to the city.
If you've got a big old farm somewhere, or if you have just for whatever reasons chosen not to live in the city of anything, specifically the cities of Bossier or Caddo Parish, so the city of Shreveport. If you have by choice made the decision, I don't want to live in Shreveport, I don't want to live in an annexed area, I want to live out in the parish, as you put it.
You'd still live in the parish.
Are you willing all of a sudden to cede, to let the mayor and city council of Shreveport?
It would be a parish council. The governments would merge. You would have a mayor president.
So who's going to be the mayor of Shreveport? Ollie Tyler?
You have an election.
Or Stephen Jackson?
No, Stephen Jackson would not be. You have Woody Wilson. Dr. Wilson is in charge of the parish.
Okay, so
one of them would have to go.
who would be mayor of Shreveport?
You have an election.
Mayor Woody Wilson. Say it out loud.
Mayor Woody Wilson.
And all the trouble and all...
He's not a politician. That probably isn't a gig for him.
No.
Now, this would never happen for 20 years. You'd have to have a study committee and all that BS. I'd be willing to step up and be on the study committee.
You've had some...
I think it's time.
You've had some bad ideas before. That's in your top 3. 29 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM.
Works pretty good in Baton Rouge, old boy.
710 Keel. Yeah, what was that list we had a couple of weeks ago? In America's 10 most dysfunctional cities? Traffic update. Here's Ruben.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic on Hearn Avenue and Milam Street. And we're starting to see some backed-up traffic on I-20 westbound near Spring and Market. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will turn out mostly sunny and nice. We'll have a high of 86 degrees, clear skies, and a low of 63 for tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
The Shreveport Council votes no to the proposed sports complex for Cross Bayou. Mayor Ollie Tyler says this was a missed chance to help our city.
I know I've not been an elected official, but 2 years and about 8 months. But I've been a CEO, and I know how to run a large organization. Opportunities like this one don't come along every day.
The council voted 6-0 to turn down the proposal. Only Councilman Jerry Bowman did not vote. He left the meeting early. The Shreveport community comes together to clean up the Leaps and Bounds playground at A.C. Steer Park after it was vandalized. City workers, alongside members of the Broadmoor Neighborhood Association, gathered to remove profanity spray painted at the park, and they cleaned up the mess left behind. SPAR Director Shelley Regal says this is not the only park to recently be vandalized, and that it makes her sad the city has to spend money cleaning up after others instead of buying new equipment. Bossier police searching for the gunman responsible for a shooting last night on Hill Street. Investigators say the victim was standing outside his home when an SUV drove up. Someone inside exchanged words with the victim before shooting him several times, the victim being treated for non-life-threatening wounds to the arm. 2 members of Congress say a Shreveport man's been detained in Guatemala since March after bullets were found in his luggage during an airport scan. Senator Bill Cassidy and Representative Mike Johnson say Zachary Wilson was arrested following a church mission trip. Complicating the case is his medical condition. He has colitis and requires expensive medications. Louisiana gets big money in a lawsuit. Matt Parker with that.
Louisiana is one of several states that will receive millions from the manufacturer Mylan. The drug company was busted for knowingly committing Medicaid fraud by overcharging taxpayers for their EpiPen products. As part of the $465 million settlement, the state of Louisiana will receive $6.9 million. State Attorney General Jeff Landry says that the state will use those funds to replenish the Medicaid program. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
A new study finds Louisiana's lawsuit climate is the worst in the nation and also shows the ranking is not good when it comes to attracting new business. Harold Kim is Executive VP of the U.S. Chamber Institute for Legal Reform. He says the areas Louisiana ranked poorly were the competence and impartiality of judges, the fairness of juries, and the quality of appellate review. Kim says the poll of more than 1,300 attorneys or leaders in companies also asked what they thought the worst jurisdictions were in the U.S.
And unfortunately, New Orleans Parish came out as the fourth worst in the country. And so that certainly contributed.
Senator Bernie Sanders ready to unveil his bill for starkly reshaping our current hodgepodge healthcare system into one where the government provides medical insurance for everyone. Republican senators are preparing to roll out details of a last-ditch effort to repeal and replace President Obama's healthcare law. The rival packages have little in common other than the likelihood that neither will probably go anywhere. Sunny today with the high temp close to 86, right now 64. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
You know, you just brought up a very interesting subject that we did not finish discussing. 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Shreveport Security Systems text line is 318-392-1884. We'll get to some of those in just a little bit. And you talked about, well, you know, in Baton Rouge, they have a combined parish and city government, blah, blah, blah.
Yep. Maybe it's time.
Wait a second. Why do you operate under the, in my mind, misconception that what happened yesterday was a mistake? Maybe what
I'm not saying it was a mistake.
Then what I'm saying is that what happened yesterday, and I'm thinking right now as, look, you know who would disagree with you that there needs to be governmental reform?
Who?
Is at least 6, maybe 7 Shreveport City Council people.
I'm just saying if we're so broke and we can't fix our streets and we can't pay our police and firefighters and our, you know, we can't fix our infrastructure, we are not going to vote for new taxes. And we're going to have Michael Corbin in a minute, and he talked about, he didn't even say the word. He spelled B-O-N-D because he didn't even want to say the word. If they really think they're going to put a bond issue out there and residents of Shreveport are going to vote yes, you are smoking too much of that wacky weed.
Where's the money go? Or is there not enough money?
That's what we don't have enough money. So let's think about a merger of governments. You have an abundance of money in the parish. And the parish people are screaming at me right now.
Yeah, because right now what you're saying is, you know what? There's all those people out there that we can tax. I live in Shreveport. You don't. I want your money. Settle down there, Ms. Craig.
But you would cause a huge savings for both city and parish governments.
But what you're saying is there's people out there, you sound like Bernie Sanders. We got to tax the rich. We got to soak the rich.
We're out of money. Let's go get theirs.
They're getting away with something, those rich people.
I'm just saying, let's think about the discussion. Let's begin.
At the end of the day, what you're talking about is there's people out there with money. Let's go get them.
Well, our problem is we have annexed and annexed and annexed. Shreveport has grown. Now the residential areas in the parish have shrunk while Shreveport has grown, but the money has not grown for Shreveport, and parish government is wealthy.
So basically what you're telling me is all those people out there that you just said, all those rich folks who need to be part of Shreveport so they can give us their money, that you trust the same system that has brought us to the verge of that we don't have any money. For whatever reason, let's put them in charge of even more stuff.
It wouldn't be the same people. It's a whole new election. I mean, it's decade long change, You're no longer going to have a city council. You're no longer going to have a parish commission. You would have a parish council or whatever you want to call it. You would no longer have just a mayor or just a parish administrator. You would have, like you have in Baton Rouge, you would have a mayor president. She's called.
Who do you think has more baggage right now, the Shreveport City Council or the Caddo Commission?
More baggage? Yeah. I don't know. Just got a text from Cedric Glover on this exact topic. New Orleans was the nation's first to merge. The consolidation of city and county governments. It's a trend, I'm telling you.
You're looking at those people out there and you're saying, you're going Bernie Sanders, you're going Hillary on me here.
No,
those people aren't paying enough.
No,
we need to.
I'm thinking savings, less government, smaller government. We don't need big city government, big parish government. Let's combine them. We save money, folks.
739, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Councilman Michael Corbin, he is up next. Right now, here's Ruben.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic on Hearn Avenue and Milam Street. And we're starting to see some backed-up traffic on the I-20 westbound near Spring and Market. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will turn out mostly sunny and nice. We'll have a high of 86 degrees, clear skies, and a low of 63 for tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
.742, it's 1017 FM. I had the mic on, then I pushed the off switch and started talking. It's a very hectic day. 1017 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert and Erin. Councilman Michael Corbin's here. Hey, Mr. Mike, how are you this morning?
Good morning, Robert and Erin. How are y'all today?
We're all right. You said some dirty words last night. You wouldn't even say the word. You said this 4-letter word. You were a no vote. It turned out you could not do it. In fact, no one on the council could vote yes for the proposed sports complex. Your primary reason was why?
I think it's really twofold. First, there was a lot of information that still needed to come out to the council and to the public, and the public made it very clear in their responses to council members of, their focus is on infrastructure and how do we fix streets, how do we fix what we have, whether that's the right thing or the wrong way to go. That's what the public said, and I think the council listened to them.
You also said, and I'm quoting you, there's a thick fog over the details of this project. By design?
I don't really know the answer to that. The council was told that a lot of the details had to come out slowly or had to be covered up because of the competitive situation with the Pelicans. I understand that, and that makes sense to me. The issue that I had with it is information leaked out very slowly over this last 3 weeks, and some of it came to the media, frankly, before the council even got it. And I just don't think it was handled correctly. And I think that if there was a do-over, it would be done differently, I hope.
When you say it would be done differently, you of course mean by the Tyler administration. What do you think they should have done differently?
When you're talking about an investment like this that you're asking the citizens to make, you have to involve the citizens from day one. And I go back to the 2011 bond issue that was passed. That took administration and council members out in the neighborhood, going to neighborhood meetings, talking to the public eyeball to eyeball, and saying why this is a good thing. Because the details of these things are complicated. It's hard for council to understand. It's hard for citizens to understand. And I just don't think that we broke it down to the nuts and bolts of what the project entails.
So basically what you're saying is, like I said with Mr. Willie, I don't want to put words in your mouth. What you're saying is if there had been more openness and we, meaning the council, had been more involved by the Tyler administration, we, the council, could have done a better job selling your proposal?
I don't think the council was sold on it enough to go out and sell it to the public.
Did you try? And I think you'll know how I mean this. Did you try to vote yes?
Oh, it was the toughest vote I've made since I've been on city council by far. I still believe it could be a good thing for Shreveport. It's as a business person, how do you ever turn down $100 million in private money invested in your city? I mean, that's just a good thing. The sticking point for many was, is it, how much of it is tied to if we get the Pelicans team or not, and what do we do? What can we do to guarantee that it's not an additional burden on the taxpayers?
Michael, let me ask you this. Can Corporate Realty rework their proposal and possibly include an arena for the Pelicans? Is that even a possibility? Is that something they would say, nah, that's not the kind of deal we want to do?
I think that Corporate Realty has expressed a desire to work with Shreveport and make an investment in Shreveport with or without this arena deal. Now, are they interested in coming back and building an arena themselves or something like that? I don't know. I've not been privy to any of those conversations, and that's something that time will tell. I think the interesting thing today is going to be, is there a reaction from the Pelicans, and what's the headline on the Pensacola newspaper this morning?
Yeah, does this vote kill the Pelicans' possibilities of coming here?
I don't think it sends a very positive message.
Well, is that primarily, though, because the city did that the city tried so hard to sell the Pelicans on, we don't have a good arena already? In other words, if you guys are going to come here, you don't want to come here with what we've got. You've got it. We've got to have a new arena to get you. In other words, did they sell Shreveport short on what currently exists?
I don't think so. And based on the information that was shared with City Council, it was that the Pelicans did come here. They looked at existing facilities. They talked with management of those facilities and determined that CenturyLink did not have enough available dates and was really too big.
Excuse me, CenturyLink Center didn't have enough available dates.
Yes.
Okay.
And that venue was too large for what they wanted to do. They told us that they also looked at Hirsch, and that Hirsch was not acceptable for their needs as well. And there's a lot of confusion about Hirsch. I mean, a lot of citizens think that the city owns Hirsch, and we don't. The State Fairgrounds owns Hirsch.
You also made a point, you wanted to make it clear that the $30 million that was being discussed was not money that can be spent on streets now or in the future, that it's dedicated money. We got a question on our Facebook page for you that said, the riverfront money has been moved to the general fund before, that we have done that. Your response to that?
Over the past two administrations, a portion of riverfront funds have been transferred to the general fund just to shore up operating expenses. By ordinance that was created back during Mayor Beard's administration, that money is to be used for economic development purposes along the riverfront. And part of it still is. The difficulty is, we could take all of it, we could change the ordinance, this council or the next council could change the ordinance and say, we're just going to let it go into the general fund. And then it could be used for whatever. I mean, my statement last night in talking about street repairs is really this. Over the past 12 years, we have seen money allocated in the annual budget for street and infrastructure repairs drop from nearly $20 million to about less than $3 million a year. And when we're talking about monies like that out of our normal annual operating budget, citizens will not see infrastructure improvements. It's going to take an influx of money, such as another general obligation bond issue or something like that, to generate $100 million, $200 million that will actually make a difference in our infrastructure needs.
Basically what you're saying is, because you were talking about an additional bond issue last evening, what you're saying is when it comes down to running the city of Shreveport, in your opinion, the money's just not there.
Shrinking revenues, increased cost of operations. I have a lot of people who contact me and say, well, you just need to lay off a bunch of people. We honestly, if you take public safety out of the picture, we have less city employees than we've had in 20, 25 years. So we are doing more.
Does the future operation of Shreveport, the future competent operation of Shreveport to pay for the things we need, does that mean we're going to have to keep borrowing and borrowing and borrowing to pay for things, given the fact that the tax base in this city is shrinking?
Well, I think it goes back to your previous conversation. Is it a good time to look at combined city-parish government? Yes, I think it is. I think that may be very beneficial. But we also have to take a hard look at what we are funding. The last couple of years at budget time, I've asked for a list of city buildings or parks that we could return to public use and not have to maintain anymore. And that's not a popular subject. I mean, people don't like it. But we have to look at ways to cut money, or we won't have anything in our reserve fund, and we will have to go back and ask the citizens for more money, and nobody wants to do that.
Shreveport City Councilman Michael Corbin, thanks for your time this morning.
Y'all have a good day.
7:52. It's 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Mayor Ollie Tyler just past 8 o'clock. And Councilman Oliver Jenkins at 8:40. It is 8 away from, I said that, 8 before 8. Here's Ruben.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic on Hearn Avenue and Milam Street. And we're starting to see some backed-up traffic on I-20 westbound near Spring and Market. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will turn out mostly sunny and nice. We'll have a high of 86 degrees, clear skies, and a low of 63 for tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Everybody thinks you're a genius. It's 6 away from 8 o'clock. Sports time on KEEL.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The much-discussed Cross Bayou project that included a new $30 million arena was voted down by the Shreveport City Council unanimously Tuesday. Shreveport and Pensacola were the two finalists to land the New Orleans Pelicans G League Development League team. The decision by the council has not, publicly at least, affected the Pelicans' final decision. A marketing campaign with national broadcaster Tim Brando at the forefront had been touting the positive effects of the new arena and accompanying multi-million-dollar entertainment retail living space proposed by a Birmingham developer as a potential economic boom for the city. Former Calvary quarterback Shea Patterson was named the SEC Offensive Player of the Week after his school record 489-yard passing performance for Ole Miss in a win over UT Martin. The yardage total is the 13th most in a single game in SEC history. The Astros' Justin Verlander threw 8 innings of one-hit ball to help Houston snap a 4-game losing streak in a 1-0 win over the Los Angeles Angels. Verlander struck out 9, and Yuli Gurriel's second-inning RBI single drove in the game's only run. The Rangers were clobbered by Seattle 10-3 in Arlington last night to fall 3 games out of the wild card race. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
They don't.
But people.
They don't still live in the city limits. They don't live in the city.
But people who live in the parish.
They still pay the parish tax rates.
But people who live in the parish, suddenly people in Shreveport would have some kind of access to their money.
Oh, yes. All of it's in one bucket now.
We got to talk about that more. I'm not sure.
I'm bubbling over with a movement.
7:57.
I could have phrased that a little differently.
No, I think you phrased it perfectly. 3 before 8 o'clock. Here's Sean Hannity.
The truth and nothing but. This is the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
All right, concerning new data that has been released, it shows Hillary Clinton may have won the state of New Hampshire with illegal votes, which, by the way, she only won by 2,700 votes. J. Christian Adams, PJ Media reports over 6,000 voters in New Hampshire had used same-day registration, voter registration procedures to register and vote simultaneously for president. Now, the current New Hampshire Speaker of the House obtained data about what happened to those 6,000, quote, new New Hampshire voters who showed up on Election Day. Well, the overwhelming majority of them can no longer be found in New Hampshire. And furthermore, of those 6,000 voters, only 1,014 have ever obtained a New Hampshire driver's license. Now, Hillary Clinton is currently promoting her book entitled What Happened and blames everyone but herself for the loss. Maybe she'd like to explain what happened in New Hampshire.
Keeping you on the straight path. Later today, it's the Sean Hannity Show.
You know, business travel is a game of wins and losses. A reclining seat in front of you, that's a loss. Buying your business trip at Upside.com, well, that's not just a win, it's a triple win because Upside.com has the absolute best available prices for flights, hotels, and rental cars. Win number 2 is how Upside rewards you with a gift card to places like Amazon.com every single time you buy a business trip. And the third win is the amazing 6-star treatment that you get from Upside's Navigators, their customer service specialists. Now, Navigators are instantly accessible 24/7 when you go to Upside.com and use their app, even reaching out so you can avoid a problem before it happens. Go to Upside.com, use the promo code Hannity, and you'll get a minimum $100 gift card to Amazon.com. That's promo code Hannity for a minimum $100 gift card to Amazon.com just for buying your next business trip at Upside.com. You deserve a better business trip.
Minimum purchase required. See site for complete details.
We have reports of a minor accident on Kings Highway and Shreveport-Barksdale Highway, and we're looking at some backed up traffic on I-20 westbound starting at Spring and Market. It's backed up to Airline Drive right now. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will turn out mostly sunny and nice. We'll have a high of 86 degrees, clear skies, and a low of 63 for tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.
It is 8:03. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Local news. Erin is getting ready right now.
Got to talk about what do we have to talk about today? What? The sports complex.
It was 6-0, not 7-0. We missed the extra point.
Mm-hmm. Also, vandalism at a local park. We'll have that coming up too, and violence in Bossier City.
And you're not going to believe, you can hear my phone ringing in the background.
Yeah, what the heck's that?
I can't tell you who it is, but it's somebody with info.
Ooh.
Plus the mayor in 10 minutes, plus Oliver Jenkins in about a half hour. Fletcher in sports and traffic and weather, all coming up this hour on KEEL.
The KEEL Morning Report. Now on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
The Shreveport City Council votes no to the proposed sports complex for Cross Bayou. Councilman Michael Corbin says he hopes this is not a done deal.
Let's reset this whole thing. Let's come back. I hope we don't scare corporate realty away. I hope we don't scare the Pelicans away. But I don't see at this point that this is moving the right direction, and it needs to.
Now, things got a little dicey during the meeting, especially when State Representative Barbara Norton made some direct comments to Councilmember Stephanie Lynch.
Representing District 3, we stand with whoever represents District 3. And we speaking of you, Stephanie. You stand with us, we stand with you. You stand against us, we stand against you. Thank you.
Norton was for the proposal. Stephanie, along with all the other council members, voted no, 6-0. Only council member Jerry Bowman did not vote. He left the meeting early. Bossier police searching for the gunman responsible for a shooting last night in the 1700 block of Hill Street. Investigators say the victim was standing outside his home when an SUV drove up, and someone inside exchanged words with the victim before shooting him several times. The victim is being treated for non-life-threatening wounds to his arm. The Shreveport community comes together to clean up the Leaps and Bounds playground at A.C. Steer Park after it was vandalized. City workers, alongside members of the Broadmoor Neighborhood Association, came together to remove profanity spray painted at the park and clean up the mess left behind by the vandals. Louisiana lawmakers working to free a Shreveport man from a Guatemalan jail after he was arrested in March for bringing hunting ammunition in his luggage. Representative Mike Johnson and Senator Bill Cassidy met with the country's ambassador to discuss the case of Zachary Wilson. Johnson says Wilson suffers from colitis.
Our specific request is that if his trial date cannot be moved back to happen in the next several weeks, then he needs to be returned to the U.S. so he can continue his medical treatment while he awaits trial.
Louisiana, one of several states that will get millions from the manufacturer Mylan. The company was busted for knowingly committing Medicaid fraud by overcharging taxpayers for their EpiPen products. As part of the $465 million settlement, the state of Louisiana will get nearly $7 million. LSU among the best colleges in the nation. Matt Parker with that.
For the 10th straight year, LSU has been ranked as one of the top schools in the country. According to the U.S. News and World Report, LSU is ranked 63rd out of 190 universities. And while that may not sound that impressive, the school is the highest ranked in Louisiana and is the 5th highest ranked school in the SEC, coming ahead of Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, and others. Graduates from LSU also earn more money coming out of college, ranking 3rd amongst SEC schools. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Mostly sunny today, the high temp near 86. Right now, it is 65. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Nine past 8 o'clock. It's 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Traffic right now. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at Line Avenue and Kings Highway is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we're still keeping an eye on that backed-up traffic on I-20 westbound. Starting at Spring and Market, it's backed up past Airline Drive right now. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will turn out mostly sunny and nice. We'll have a high of 86 degrees, clear skies, and a low of 63 for tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
morning, it's 11 past 8 o'clock.
Got to turn your mic on. Yeah, you got to hit the button.
It was on, then I turned it off. I'm telling you, this is such an intense, hectic morning, and I'm folding up like a Kleenex here. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Shreveport Mayor Ollie Tyler is standing by. Hey, Miss Ollie, how are you this morning?
Good morning. How are you, Robert?
We're doing good in here, Ollie. Vote was no. It was unanimous. Is the deal to bring the Pelicans to Shreveport dead?
Well, Erin, I really don't know. Let me just say this. It's unfortunate that the council did not see fit to take advantage of this opportunity to move further along in the process. However, I respect the council's decision. But, I want our citizens to know, and I said it last evening, I will continue to seek and vet other economic opportunities for our city because we want businesses around this nation to know that Shreveport is open for business, and we look forward to working with companies that are willing to invest in our future.
Headline in the Pensacola paper this morning. Pensacola's competition for Pelicans G League team strikes down arena proposal. The article says this opens the door for Pensacola to win the team. Again, is there any chance we're still in the running in the Pelicans' eyes?
I do not know.
Will you be talking with them today?
I'm not sure. I have not. We were here 5 hours last night, Erin.
Yeah.
And so I've not had a chance to talk with anybody from the Pelicans organization, and I've not had a chance to even talk with my team. So I'm going to be doing that first, and then we'll go from there. But as I've said, it's unfortunate that, we turned away $139 million of investment in our community, but that does not stop me from doing what I have to do to grow this city. And I'm going to continue to do that with or without this opportunity. So just know that this mayor doesn't give up. God has given me the vision and determination to try to make Shreveport better, and I'm going to continue to do that.
Miss Ollie, did you know when the meeting started yesterday at 3 that it was going to be a no vote? Or we talked to Willie Bradford earlier, and he said that he thought it would be 4-3 up to the time of the vote. He really didn't know which way it was going to go. What did you know, and when did you know it?
I did not, speak to any of the council members about their vote, Robert. I tried to just educate them. I did meet with them, several weeks ago. Went through the entire plan with them. Asked them not to release that plan. I invited them to come to staff meetings. We had several staff meetings with our people from the NBA and from the corporate realty, just to provide them with more information because we were still in competition with the other city. At that time, the Pelicans did not tell us it was Pensacola. However, we heard that it was. Then we decided that we needed to go ahead and release our entire RFP plan and presentation. But right after we released ours, then Pensacola decided, well, let me do what Shreveport has done because they had not planned. Initially, their presentation did not include a new complex, but now they're going to build a complex. Now, they have to go to the voters in November, for a GOB bond. Unfortunately, we didn't get this opportunity, and we didn't even have to go to the voters. We had, enough revenue bond backing to be able to do it for the first 3 or 4 years, and we saw where we could actually bring in a lot more revenues to be able to provide services for citizens throughout the city. But it didn't happen, and let me say this to you. Although it was disappointing, I'll emphasize again, that doesn't break my spirit to keep making Shreveport a better place.
Mm-hmm. We have had this morning already a couple of city council people on, and through the morning, one of the things that keeps coming up is that your administration didn't do a good enough job in informing the people on the council so that they could go out and sell this deal for you with their constituents. Do you feel that's legit? How do you think? What do you think about that?
That's their opinion, and they have a right to that. I felt like I did do due diligence, and that's all I'll need to say about that, Robert.
Let me ask you this, Mayor. The corporate realty deal, Could it still be alive? Could it possibly include an arena for the Pelicans? Could we shift, maybe let's take the residential out of their proposal and put the arena in? Is that, if Erin McCarty's mayor of Shreveport, that's what I would try to do. Is there any chance that could happen?
I do not know. I have not spoken to Corporate Realty. I don't like to make speculations about things I don't know. All I will say is, at this point, I'm going to debrief with my team, and if there is a need to have those conversations with the Pelicans, and if there is a need for me to have conversations with Corporate Realty, I'll do that. Right now, I have not done that. I am looking for other economic opportunities, and there are some. We've got some new businesses on the horizon, and we're going to push ahead with those. As you all know, we have attracted some business and industry to Shreveport over the past 2 years. We have some others that will be coming online, and I'm going to continue to walk toward that direction, to bring in whatever businesses we can bring in to help spur the economy in Shreveport.
William Bradford told us when you guys were on with us a few weeks back, when I asked specifically, would Corporate Realty's deal, would they still be interested in coming to Shreveport with or without the Pelicans? And his answer was yes. I'm hopeful that that's a possibility. I assume you are too. Is that something you're going to move aggressively on?
Erin, I don't know, because I don't know. I can't answer for what Attorney Bradford said. All I can do is debrief with my team and have those conversations. I'm not sure what that conversation was, and so I can't speak to it. I try not to do that until I have facts.
What about Cross Bayou? I voted for this in 1996. Mm-hmm. I voted for a park. Mm-hmm. Funds were approved for a park. It's 2017. When am I going to get my park?
I don't know. You voted for it in tell me that again.
1996. I voted for a bond issue for a park.
Okay.
And I voted down a zoo at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
The park was approved by 98 votes.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2017, Mayor. I know this is not all your fault. You've been mayor 2 3/4 years.
Mm-hmm.
But when do I get my park? Tiger would like to go to the park on the riverfront.
Well, let me say, if it's been 20 years, Erin, that question probably should have been asked about, 10, 15 years ago.
I have. I've been asking.
And I'm trying. All I can do is bring forth those opportunities, Erin. And I don't get to vote. I'm not a city council member. I'm the mayor, and my job and my position is to bring forth those opportunities and bring the legislation to the city council. And I've done that, and I'm going to continue to do that. Now, that's my response to that. I can't speak to what happened the last 20 years.
Gotcha. How much?
Like you said, I've just been here 2 years and about 8 months, and but I'm going to continue to bring those opportunities. It's going to be on the council to pass the legislation. I don't have a vote there.
In dealing with Corporate Realty up to this point, how much of Corporate Realty's involvement and willing to set $125, $130 million on the table, how much of their involvement was predicated on your ability to hook them up with the Benson family, the NBA, and the NFL?
Well, I can't respond for Corporate Realty. That's something you'd have to ask them. I know that when we went after the RFP, we wanted to do more than bring just a team here, a sports team. The vision that we had, of course, this vision about developing Cross Bayou, the corridor there, was something that the citizens actually put in place, years ago, to try to help spur the economy and make Shreveport, a destination. And of course, what I've done is try to add to that vision to make it better. by bringing in an anchor that would help attract, I'll say this again. Sports tourism is a $9 billion industry in this nation. And so I can tell you that when you've got the NBA backing and they are requiring all of their teams to come up with a development league now, they're going to back it. And so, we brought to the table, I think, one of the best opportunities Shreveport has ever had. But I can't speak to what they want to do. They did agree. We looked at, I've had more calls than Corporate Realty about helping us with this project. Mm-hmm. But they were the company that had the solid reputation of getting it done and had the backing to do it.
Where were they last night? I would have liked to have heard from them I know that was a 4-hour meeting, and I know that would have made it. I would have liked to have seen them in town more, telling people why we believe in Shreveport, why we think that, why we were going to put up $139 million. Why didn't they help do a better job of selling this?
They did, Erin. I mean, they presented, they made presentations, they spoke to the council members, several times. In fact, I invited them to my staff meetings. They sat with the city council members, when they showed up to the staff meetings 2 months ago. They actually did a great job of telling them, we believe in Shreveport. This works in other cities. This is what other cities are doing. And they also did presentations twice for the public. They came 2 weeks ago and did a great job of presenting. They presented again this time. But, Corporate Realty is a business, and they believe in Shreveport. And I said that for the past 2 months. NBA believed in Shreveport. The Benson family believed in Shreveport. But we have to believe in ourselves, Erin.
Miss Ollie, when you started to put this deal together, you and your people started to put this deal together 6 or 8 or 10 months ago, whatever it happened to be. When you had those initial meetings, the first few meetings, you had to be looking around the table and be saying to each other, this is an awesome idea. This is huge. People are going to love this. When it turned out people didn't love it so much, were you surprised, especially at the intensity of the opposition?
Well, I feel like we're going to have naysayers, and with social media today, people have the ability to pass bad information. And because we were in competition, I was not able to discuss our plan. And that's what you do when that's the risk you take when you're in competition. It's like two professional teams when they play against each other. They don't let people into the camp to see what those plays are. There was no way that I could actually go to the community and say, this is why we're doing it. This is why we need to do it this way. This is not going to cost the citizens any money. There's not going to be an increase in taxes for this. We have a company. We say we're open for business. If we open for business, then if I have a company that's willing to invest $140 million in my community, if I could have gone and did all that on the front end, maybe it would have worked differently. But we have people in this city, you and I both know, that really don't care about the city. They're naysayers. They know to everything. And then they were able to use social media and use this competition that I was not able to divulge information to start that negative wave. Now, once we were able to release some of the details, then we did get those silent majority, and I'm saying silent majority, did start speaking up. But by that time, the misinformation and the politics were bad. And that's why I'll always say I'm not the typical politician. All I can do is give you facts, do due diligence, and do what I need to do to try to make it work. It didn't work.
If in your mind,
I'm not going to prolong that idea. I'm going to move ahead and continue to try to bring business to Shreveport.
If in your mind you were bound by these written or unwritten rules of doing business, and you feel that that cost you in the end getting the deal done and getting the deal passed and getting the deal approved, down the line, doesn't that mean that you have to change the rules of doing business?
Well, Robert, you know what? I divulged those facts when I could, and I've always done it that way. We've lost deals because we've talked too much in Shreveport.
Yes.
And so I know y'all remember those
Oh,
conversations.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so when I make a commitment to someone, I try to keep that commitment. And, yes, we make errors all the time. I'm just human. But I don't think I would have divulged our plan so that the other competitors could have an edge. They didn't divulge their plans. And I feel like Shreveport has a pride issue. I'll still say that. I've worked in this community and across this state for 40-plus years, and I've never had a problem with credibility. And this time around, when I ran in 2014, and I'll say this because I want to say this, people, said a lot of things about, she's never been a politician. No, I'm not. I'm a public servant. And the citizens spoke when they went to the polls. They didn't want a politician. They wanted a CEO, and they wanted somebody who had credibility. And I think they thought I had that. I've tried to have that in all of my years of service. And I'm not going to change that, and I'm not going to do bad deals. I am going to do it straight, and if God's willing, we'll be victorious.
Let me ask you one last thing real quick.
Yes.
And you can tell me to go jumping Cross Lake if you don't want to answer this. And I take a heavy sigh. Do you feel like you got a gut punch last night?
No, I really don't. Let me tell you, Erin, I had prayed that God's will be done. And if it was God's will that we didn't get this opportunity, unfortunately, we didn't get it, I'm going to keep going. My spirit is still strong. Nobody can break my spirit, okay? I'm not going to let that happen. God gave me what he gave me, and I'm going to continue to serve as long as he says I'm able to serve.
Shreveport Mayor Ollie Tyler, thank you for being so candid and willing to share so much of your time this morning.
Thank y'all so much, and have a great day.
You bet. Thanks.
29 past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Erin has local news in just a moment. Meantime, here's Rapid Ruben.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic on Hearn Avenue and Hollywood Avenue due to construction. And we have some slow-moving traffic on East Texas Street near Traffic Street in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will turn out mostly sunny and nice. We'll have a high of 86 degrees, clear skies, and a low of 63 for tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
of information. KEEL News now.
The Shreveport Council votes no to the proposed sports complex for Cross Bayou. Mayor Ollie Tyler says this was a missed chance to help our city.
And no, I've not been an elected official, but 2 years and about 8 months. But I've been a CEO, and I know how to run a large organization. Opportunities like this one don't come along every day.
The council voted 6-0 to turn down the proposal. Only Councilman Jerry Bowman did not vote. He left the meeting early. The Shreveport community comes together to clean up the Leaps and Bounds playground at A.C. Steer Park after it was vandalized. City workers, alongside members of the Broadmoor Neighborhood Association, gathered to remove profanity spray painted at the park, and they cleaned up the mess left behind. SPAR Director Shelley Regal says this is not the only park to recently be vandalized, and that it makes her sad the city has to spend money cleaning up after others instead of buying new equipment. Bossier police searching for the gunman responsible for a shooting last night on Hill Street. Investigators say the victim was standing outside his home when an SUV drove up. Someone inside exchanged words with the victim before shooting him several times, the victim being treated for non-life-threatening wounds to the arm. 2 members of Congress say a Shreveport man's been detained in Guatemala since March after bullets were found in his luggage during an airport scan. Senator Bill Cassidy and Representative Mike Johnson say Zachary Wilson was arrested following a church mission trip. Complicating the case is his medical condition. He has colitis and requires expensive medications. Louisiana gets big money in a lawsuit. Matt Parker with that.
Louisiana is one of several states that will receive millions from the manufacturer Mylan. The drug company was busted for knowingly committing Medicaid fraud by overcharging taxpayers for their EpiPen products. As part of the $465 million settlement, the state of Louisiana will receive $6.9
the Pelicans, and if there is a need for me to have conversations.
Mayor of Shreveport, that's what I would try to do.
I do not know. I have not spoken to corporate realty. I don't like to make speculations about things I don't know. All I will say is, at this point, I'm going to debrief with my team, and if there is a need to have those conversations with the Pelicans, and if there is a need for me to have conversations with corporate realty, I'll do that. Right now, I have not done that. I am looking for other economic opportunities, and there are some. We've got some new businesses on the horizon, and we're going to push ahead with those. As you all know, we have attracted some business and industry to Shreveport over the past 2 years. We have some others that will be coming online, and I'm going to continue to walk toward that direction, to bring in whatever businesses we can bring in to help spur the economy in Shreveport.
William Bradford told us when you guys were on with us a few weeks back.
Shreveport.
It is 8:39. It's 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Traffic update. Ruben's here.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic on Hearn Avenue and Hollywood Avenue due to construction. And we have some slow-moving traffic on East Texas Street near Traffic Street in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will turn out mostly sunny and nice. We'll have a high of 86 degrees, clear skies, and a low of 63 for tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
It's 8:41. It's 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty standing by. Shreveport, yikes, City Councilman Oliver Jenkins. Hey, Colonel, how are you this morning?
I am great. How are you guys doing this morning?
An interesting evening last evening. You eventually a no vote, a somewhat unanimous 6-0. Mr. Bowman kind of skirted out. What was, as you were kind of going back and forth, at least I think you were, tell us what the deciding factor in your final no vote was.
Well, I think anything of this magnitude, if it's to be successful, it needs a significant amount of public support, ultimately. And unfortunately, this group, this, let's call it project, whatever, didn't really have a constituency specifically behind it. And doesn't have public support, it's going to be difficult, to move forward with anything of this financial magnitude.
One of the criticisms, if you want to use that word, that's come up repeatedly this morning is that the mayor and her administration did not do a good enough job informing people on the council, people that they wanted to help them sell this, that guys like you didn't have the information that you needed to go out and be, and I don't mean this in a negative way, a cheerleader for this proposition?
Well, I never really felt that I didn't have enough information. I think the way that something like this gets, if you want to say, sold, is to have people in the private sector that are actually advocating for it. And unfortunately, we're in a time of largely distrust in government, which I think is unfair, but there is a certain amount of, constant, scrutiny of government, and so you need people in the private domain to be out there advocating for things like this. And sadly, there just wasn't a strong enough advocacy, in my opinion. But I thought it was a great opportunity.
The corporate realty opportunity of $139 million. Do you see that as dead this morning?
I hope not. I think it is too good of an opportunity to pass up. But we do need more public input and, just how we could possibly move forward and what groups would like to see in a project like this.
Do you see the Pelicans as a dead issue this morning?
I don't see them as a dead issue either. From what I understand, they're waiting on Pensacola, which has a November, I believe, GOP vote. So I don't know how they could necessarily move forward with another city or Pensacola before.
Do you think
now,
the city made a mistake, specifically the Tyler administration made an error in telling the Pelicans or selling the Pelicans on the idea that you can't come to Shreveport unless we get a new arena?
Okay, so you're asking me, really, do you think the Pelicans made a mistake by telling the city of Shreveport that, is what you're saying?
Or did the city of Shreveport make a mistake in telling the Pelicans that we don't have a place that's good enough for you to play? We've got to hang our hats, and you've got to hang your hat with us on this new building. And if there's no new building, there's no point in you coming here because we don't have a nice place.
I mean, to be honest, I wasn't involved in those negotiations or discussions. I was kind of led to believe that we did not have a facility currently in our town that supported, what the Pelicans were looking for.
And yet in other markets, the NBA teams, in this case it would have been the Pelicans, have put some money up to upgrade existing facilities. And yet that never seemed to be on the table, right?
Well, let me say this. I think creating a, existing facility like Hirsch, not that there's anything wrong with Hirsch, but clearly the corporate realty / real estate development around something at Hirsch was not possible. So I'm not exactly sure what that current facility would have been. Could there have been a, partnership with Centenary? Now that did seem viable to me, but, I wasn't involved in those discussions. And I do think that there were some, maybe some opportunities downtown, though I recognize we had concerns about ceiling height on various existing city facilities. So, I was always led to believe that we didn't have what they needed at the moment.
Oliver Jenkins, Shreveport City Council member. Let me put a new title in front of your name. Mayor Jenkins. How would he have handled this?
Well, I tell you what, I think it's always easier to criticize, with hindsight. So I want to make that very clear that this is not a criticism, without, as we were going, I didn't offer any good ideas to her on how to necessarily get a better result in the end. So let me make that clear. But I think clearly you need, as I mentioned, some kind of advocacy constituency that moves a project forward that's out there, marketing this as a great idea and what it brings to the city. I was always surprised that there wasn't a strong enough, the business community didn't really lead on this project from my perspective. And I think that's a little something that, certainly those groups, could have really helped. I also think DDA, unfortunately, was not very involved in the project. And, if I'm looking at a project that's going to move our center of gravity back to downtown, I certainly want the DDA as one of the biggest cheerleaders or advocacies for it. So those are areas that I probably think in hindsight could have been managed a little better.
Do you think one of the reasons that local business people, that local money wasn't more involved was because the Tyler administration, in putting this plan together, sort of put all their eggs in the corporate realty basket and sort of cut a lot of local people out of those negotiations and planning and selling?
I don't believe so. And I don't believe that, there was somebody in Shreveport that had the same vision that corporate realty had. I mean, they are absolute experts at this type of a project. They were recommended from somebody outside the city and somebody that had the capacity and experience to do a project. So in terms of the vision and the scope of the project, we didn't really, I don't believe there was somebody in town that was either interested or experienced in doing that with some type of an anchor tenant like this.
Oliver, we are broke. We have, and your phone, I'm sure.
Sorry to hear that.
Your phone has been blowing up. I know your email box has been full. People saying, fix what's wrong now. Take care of our problems now. But we don't have the money. So your colleague, Mr. Corbin, mentioned the B word. B-O-N-D. He didn't even say the word. He spelled it. Is that going to be necessary?
Is it going to be necessary?
Yes, to take care of our existing problems that people, I know you've been hearing them scream about it.
Well, I'm going to first say that, one thing that we suffer from here is a lack of individual responsibility in terms of taking ownership of, what individuals can help with rather than putting the burden of that on the city. So there is a significant amount of city resources wasted or having to make up for people's lack of individual responsibility. I'm going to make that clear. Secondly, in terms of bond projects, so we did a $175 million bond issue 2011. We are now 2017, and I'm going to guess we've expended $120 million of that $170 million. So we don't have a heck of a lot of capacity internally to manage large bond projects as we're currently structured. So I'm not sure the bond, the bond, a big GOB is really a solution. Now, can we get better at it? Yes, but we've got this huge consent decree that takes a lot of our, resources, human capital and management specifically, even though we have an outside party that helps with the management of those projects. So I'm not one that thinks, bonds would be a panacea to fix everything at this point.
Councilman Oliver Jenkins, thank you so much for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Listen, I appreciate all you do for our city. Take care.
You bet.
It is 8:51, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Traffic and weather updates coming up right now. First of all, here's Rapid Ruben.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic on Hearn Avenue and Hollywood Avenue due to construction. And we have some slow-moving traffic on East Texas Street near Traffic Street in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will turn out mostly sunny and nice. We'll have a high of 86 degrees. Clear skies and a low of 63 for tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
It is 8:52, time for KEEL Sports. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The much-discussed Cross Bayou project that included a new $30 million arena was voted down by the Shreveport City Council unanimously Tuesday. Shreveport and Pensacola were the two finalists to land the New Orleans Pelicans G League Development League team. The decision by the council has not, publicly at least, affected the Pelicans' final decision. A marketing campaign with national broadcaster Tim Brando at the forefront had been touting the positive effects of the new arena and accompanying multi-million-dollar entertainment retail living space proposed by a Birmingham developer as a potential economic boom for the city. Former Calvary quarterback Shea Patterson was named the SEC Offensive Player of the Week after his school record 489-yard passing performance for Ole Miss in a win over UT Martin. The yardage total is the 13th most in a single game in SEC history. The Astros' Justin Verlander threw 8 innings of one-hit ball to help Houston snap a 4-game losing streak in a 1-0 win over the Los Angeles Angels. Verlander struck out 9, and Yuli Gurriel's second-inning RBI single drove in the game's only run. The Rangers were clobbered by Seattle 10-3 in Arlington last night to fall 3 games out of the wild card race. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
It is 8:55, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, what you got, kid?
Jerry Bowman just texted me.
Is it something we can read?
Let me see what he says to my second question. He says, "You guys know I'm straightforward, and at this point, nothing to hide." Let's see.
What was the point in Mr. Bowman's leaving? Jerry has left the building.
That's what I asked him. I said, why no vote? And I'm waiting for him to respond. We'll see if he gets to us in time before we go off the air.
Maybe he really had somewhere to go. Maybe there was something important to do.
He told Channel 3 he had to go to work.
And at that point, it's 5-0, 6-0. And you tell me.
Here's what he just texted me.
Leave?
I had to be at work at 7:30.
Did he leave before the vote?
Yes. Yes, he left before the vote.
Then, okay,
They didn't vote till after 7. He had to be
on.
at work at 7:30.
If Mr. Bowman left before the vote, then would it be unfair of me to conclude that Mr. Bowman saw his vote as meaningless?
He says, I knew it was going to be 6-0.
Okay. If Mr. Bowman, in leaving early, saw his vote as meaningless, i.e., knowing the way it was going to go, i.e., knowing it was going to be defeated, but Willie Bradford told us that when the vote started, he thought it was going to be 4th.
Well, wait, you missed the whole thing then, because during the discussions, Oliver Jenkins made it clear, I'm a no vote. At that point, everybody knew.
But Bradford
when Oliver fell, everybody else was going to fall.
Bradford told us that up until the point in the vote, he didn't know which way it was going to go. In fact, he thought it was more likely to go 4-3 in favor.
Well, Oliver said, I'm a no vote when he started speaking.
If Bowman knew how it was going to go, he may as well have left.
Yeah.
But Bradford told us he didn't know how it was going to go.
Jerry's calling me. I'm going to have to beg out and take this call.
Back tomorrow morning, 6 till 9, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Kim Commando.
After years of endless speculation, Apple unveiled 3 new iPhones and more. Kim Commando with your Wednesday digital consumer tech update. The new iPhones are the iPhone 8 starting at $700, the 8 Plus starting at $800, and the much anticipated iPhone 10 designated by the Roman numeral X. The iPhone 10 comes with the best screen ever, a Super Retina OLED display that curves from edge to edge and top to bottom. And no passwords. The phone will recognize your face. Its new cameras will make even professional photographers take notice. Prices start at $1,000. Meanwhile, the new Apple Watch 3 looks identical to the old ones, but the new watch comes with a cellular chip. You can make and receive calls, send texts, and stream music, all without an iPhone. Finally, the new phones, the watch, and the Apple AirPod earbuds will all charge wirelessly. No dangling charging cords ever again. Tech News is updated all the time at news.komando.com. That's KOMANDO. It's that time of year again. Yeah, you know, back to school. And if you have kids, I bet you've already printed out their school supply list. And how did it print? Are you running low on ink? Well, instead of buying another ink cartridge, add the Epson EcoTank 4550 wireless all-in-one printer to your school supply list. This awesome printer has a huge refillable ink tank, and that means cartridge-free printing. This printer comes with enough ink right in the box to print up to 2 years, or get this, 8,500 pages without having to buy new ink. Think of how many school projects and supply lists you can print. We use the Epson EcoTank here at my show. Seriously, the ink tank is so huge that we haven't even had to refill it yet. Could you imagine that? You really need to check out the Epson EcoTank 4550. Learn more right now by going to epson.com/ecotank. That's epson.com/ecotank. Epson, exceed your vision.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Sun returning with a nice high of 86 today, then clear, low 63 tonight. Sunshine, high 90 for tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL.